All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Good morning to you. It is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. This morning, we're going to talk about your level of effort, our level of effort. What do we put out on a daily basis? How do we increase that? How do we get more real and honest with ourselves about the level of effort that we're actually putting out? And how do we balance that to not go crazy, not to go overboard and overexert yourself from an effort standpoint so that, at some point you burn out, but it's about consistent effort. How do you build that consistent effort? And the question I have for you is, how much effort are you actually putting out? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, guys, what's happening? Good morning to you and happy Wednesday. This morning is going to be a little gut check for everybody. The question is, how much effort are you actually putting out? How much effort are you really putting out? And I ask this question because, I've experienced this myself at different points in my life. I've seen a lot of people go really hard, be able to put out a lot of effort, but then not be able to sustain that effort. And so the question that I have for you guys is, how much effort are you really putting out? Like, at the end of the day, every day, how are you feeling, right? Do you feel good about your days? Do you feel productive? Do you feel like you're really getting it in, or do you feel like there's more in the tank? And generally speaking, from the conversations that I have with people, regardless of how high of a performer they are, the reality of most people's lives is that there is always more to give. The question that you have to ask yourself is, how do I do that? How do I give more without taking from myself, from my future self, right? How do I not rob myself? Because here's what a lot of people do. When they look at themselves in the mirror and they say, man, you're just not giving enough, they go way on the other side of it. So they go crazy and they start working 16-hour days and they start, trying to make up for lost time, if you will. And what happens to people is real simple. It's called burnout, right? And so it's not sustainable. It's not something that you can do every single day. And it's something that eventually will exhaust you. And so you will go right back to the same exact person that you were prior to, because you get to a point of exhaustion, you get to a point of frustration. It's just not healthy, right? So how do we balance that? Well, for me, that comes down to organization, the use of time. How do we use time? How do we multiply time? How do we invest every minute that we possibly can into the right buckets of life, right? And so I ask you guys to ask yourself this question: how much effort are you really putting out? Because it's really the secret to progress. It's really the secret to progress. How much effort are you able to put out on a consistent basis over a long period of time? And what I see around me a lot today is people that are really willing to invest. They're willing to go hard for a period of time, but the select few, and there's a lot of people in our circle that are really good at lasting the test of time with this. But the ones that really separate themselves, they're able to do it for a long time, man. They're able to put in that consistent effort. They figure out a routine. They figure out the process. They lean into how to make more of their time, how to be more present in the things that they do. When they're at home with their family, they're home with their family so that they're not stealing that time. All of this takes effort, by the way. And at the end of a week, at the end of a day, you should be able to look back and say, I'm proud of the effort that I put out. Second part of that is, how do I make it better? How do I make it more efficient? How do I use my time better? How do I shift the responsibilities? If you're a leader, how do you shift the responsibilities that you have from the daily duties that you're so used to doing to leading. A lot of people refer to it as working on your business, not in your business. It's a really hard transition, but it is effort. How much effort you put into analyzing all of this, how much effort you put into really making every day count. How much effort are you actually putting out? And are you putting your effort in the right places? Are you actually categorizing the things that you want to win at in life? And are you measuring yourself in those buckets? Think about it, man. We all have a lot of responsibilities. How we make an income, AKA our career or our job, just one of them. And it's a very small portion of who you are. The easiest thing sometimes to measure because it's attached to a result, right? But at the end of your life, you will look back at your career as a piece, most likely a small piece of what it is that you did in your life. The impact that you make, the people that you can help, the difference that you can make comes from being able to figure out how to put out more effort without exhausting yourself. How do you make a bigger impact? How do you do more without running yourself into the ground? Because here's what happens. And there's a lot of people out there that will give you different advice than this. I've lived both ways. I've lived as the person that, worked 18 hours a day, got up early in the morning and stayed up till, midnight, 1:00 and did it again over and over and over again. And I can tell you that it didn't work for me. Now, if it works for you, great. I'm just giving you the advice and perspective that I have lived, is that when I decided to pay attention to time, when I decided that I could do more if I was present where I was, and if I could put out more effort, and I could be more focused, and I could have more productive conversations, and I could be present with my children, and I could go on dates with my wife, that all of these things would start to come together and life would get better. And I was right. I had that hunch that that way was not going to be sustainable, and it wasn't going to be what produced the right results. And I can share with you guys this morning that the results that I've been able to achieve in my life, the results that we've achieved in our business here at the Pavement Group and beyond, in Top Contractor School and beyond, everything has changed since I was able to measure and multiply the impact of time that I have in my life. And so the hard question to ask yourself is, how much effort are you really putting out? Are you really effective? Because there's a difference between working hard and working smart. There's a lot of people that I know that work smart. Now, if you can do both, and there's a select number of people in the world that are really smart at how they work, and they also work their tails off. And those are the people that really win big. And you sit there and say to yourself, man, how did those people accomplish all of that in such a short period of time? Well, how they accomplish things in a short period of time is this conversation that we're having this morning. They look at time differently. They look at time differently. Ask yourself this question. Here's another one that I used to do. Every time an issue came up, I would respond to that issue instantly. Every time I got an email, I would look at that email instantly. That, friends, is called reactive living. That is not you running your life. It's your life running you. And so if you come across issues, if they are not urgent, then they shouldn't be treated as such. You have to be able to process issues, and you have to be able to use the time you have wisely by categorizing a time period in the day where you can deal with issues. And so now for me, everything that comes to me, everything that I deal with, I look and say, what is the level of urgency? Because let's tie it back to what we're talking about here. If I am constantly just responding to things, and I just take the things that people throw at me as they come, then I can't possibly put out the right amount of effort because I'm constantly on somebody else's schedule. But if I can manage my time effectively, and if I can say no when people ask for my time, just temporarily, and then deal with it at an appropriate time, then I can put out a significant amount of effort and a significant better result by being aware of how I can put out the best effort. Because, guys, I've always worked hard, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys, most of you guys watching this also work extremely hard. But it comes down to, how are you working smart? And are you putting out the max amount of effort in every way, working hard and working smart in order to get the right result? And that, friends, is a lifelong journey to figure out time. I joke all the time, but when I was back in my corporate days, every single year we would do a, personal development plan. What are you working on? What are you good at? What do you need some help with? Every single year, time management was on my development plan. Just always seemed to elude me. I wouldn't have that on my development plan now. I think I use time pretty well. Now, I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied, but I think I use it well. I think there's a lot more that I can get out of it, but I'm learning. I'm evolving, and I read about it, and I study, all the different things that people do in order to get more out of the time that they spend. And I would suggest you do the same. Don't just listen to what I have to say. Explore it for yourself. Read, digest everything, and think about what it is that allows you to take yourself, your life, your family to the next level. And I promise you, when you start analyzing this stuff, how much effort am I working as hard as I can, and am I working as smart as I can? Both of those require effort. One is physical effort. One is focus and mental effort. It's critical. It is critical to your success to understand this and to ask yourself that question. Am I working hard enough at using time as to the best of my abilities? That's what I want you guys to think about today. That's what I want you to ponder. And that is 100% what I want you to make a difference in your life. Because when you figure out how to multiply time, it's pretty magical what you can accomplish. You can get done what would take most 10 years in just a couple. So invest the time, focus, get around people that understand it well, and allow them to show you exactly how they've done it. That's it for this morning, guys. I will see you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.